re-elect a Labor government.
Very good speech.
Honourable Toh Henare.
Fancy living in a housing New Zealand home for 50-odd years. Fancy not going to go and buy your own house. Fancy not asking the government for an assistance to buy your own house, rather than stay there for 50 years. It's a state house. It belongs to the state. It is there to help those in need, for goodness sake. That's the reason for a state house. And while we're talking about state houses, and Ms Mackie, before she goes, Mr Speaker, 1936, cast your mind back to 1936. Michael Joseph Savage, no, Phil was there, but I wasn't. Cast your mind back to that day. Michael Joseph Savage was given a broken gold watch, 3 huia feathers, and a pounamu tiki. Mr Speaker, they represented the deal done between Ratana and Labour. 4 years later, Mickey Savage died. No one has seen these taonga, these supposed artefacts to bind the Labour Party and Ratana together, or I should say, bind Māori together with the Labour Party in 1936. You would have thought that they would have kept a hold of them. You would have thought that they were so precious, that they meant so much to the Labour Party, to New Zealand in fact, that these taonga would have been kept on display for the rest of the nation to see, Mr Speaker. So let's talk about relationships and where they go, Mr Speaker. Treaty settlement. Let's talk about 67 treaty settlements since they were established, sir. 41 under national, out of 67, 41 treaty settlements in the last 5 years. Billions of dollars created out of those settlements, just settlements, sir, and Tūhoe settlement is still to come, sir. 26 of those settlements in 9 years of a Labour government. 9 years. Sir, when I delivered the Muri Whenua report as Minister of Māori Affairs, way back last century, sir, some bright spark on the other side said, mate, what we're going to do is we're going to wait for Labour because they'll give us more. Well, they waited for Labour, and Labour came and went. In 9 years, Muri Whenua still hadn't been settled, Mr Speaker. And it's only through the good graces of our Cabinet and of our Minister of Treaty Negotiations, the Honourable Chris Finlayson, that on the weekend a deal was signed with Ngāti Kuri, part of the Muri Whenua conglomerate, Mr Speaker. What have we done in terms of land use? Well, let's have a look at the Ture Whenua Māori land legislation, sir. There's around about $8 billion worth of land that actually sits idle because nobody's thought of trying to unlock that. And who is out there now trying to unlock that? Who is out there doing the business to review the Ture Whenua Māori land legislation? None other than National and the Māori Party. Sir, that's what we call engagement. Engagement. You know, I love to go to huis, Mr Speaker, and listen to how Labour has a great relationship with Māori. And they talk a good game. But who delivers? Who delivers on that relationship? It's the National Party, sir. Who funded Kohanga first and foremost? Oh, that's right. It was actually Muldoon that funded Kohanga way back. But anybody would have thought that, it's this relationship between Māori and Labour that does all of this. It isn't, sir. It is not. It's a lie. Mr Speaker, the last speaker was talking about housing. Well, here's something that all of New Zealand should know. At Ratana, there are houses, state houses even, Mr Speaker, that had been in need of some work. And who was the government that sat down in a relationship with Ratana? My colleague and my friend, the former Minister of Housing, the Honourable Phil Heatley. All of those homes have been fixed, they have been made warm, they have been made safe for that community, Mr. Speaker. You would have thought over a 70-year period that it was the Labour Party that would have done something along the lines of a real relationship. Oh no, the real relationship comes when people who are not interested in talking about a good game, but playing a good game. And that's the difference between Labour and National, Mr. Speaker. We don't just sit there and pontificate and talk about a good game, sir. Our ministers get in and get their hands dirty and do that. $100 million has been spent on the insulation project, Mr. Speaker. Many of those homes that have been insulated are Māori homes. Nothing under Labour. 45% of those homes are Māori homes. Mr. Speaker, I think that what we are seeing today is the realignment of where history should sit, and that is that National has been good for the relationship with Māori. Mr. Speaker, have a look at education, for goodness sake. Early childhood, more Māori in early childhood than ever before. The uptake of early childhood education for Māori families is hugely significant. It's hugely significant. There are more Māori achieving now under national standards, under NCEA, than ever before. Sir, they are staying at school longer. There are more graduates from wānanga, from universities and from polytechs, Mr. Speaker. Out of 9,000 places under the Youth Guarantee Scheme, 4,000 are Māori students. 4,000 are Māori young people, Mr. Speaker. So when it comes to talking about relationships, the delivery of service to Māori under a national government is beyond reproach. Mr. Speaker, we have done our fair share, and I implore the community to think very seriously about where their vote goes. Oh, it's okay in the individual vote. I mean, people have their own individual preferences. But as my colleague said, the most important vote is the party vote, because that's who you want to see who is the government. Who do you think, no, not you, but you as them folks out there, who do you think should govern this country on behalf of the country? And that's why I say to Māori and others who have been duped over the last few years, the Pacific Island community as well, have been duped by this touchy, feely, good way of handling politics, is that they will have empathy with the poor old Pacific Island community. They will have empathy with the poor old Māori community. And they will even go to lengths like I saw at Waitangi the other day, with David Cunliffe trying his best to pull the waka on board, oh, where was I? Actually, I was planning my father's unveiling that day, Mr. Goff. Oh, you'll let me off. Well, that's the attitude, eh? That is the attitude, that sanctimonious attitude, that when something like that, somebody tells the truth, oh, they go back into their little shell and you know, oh yeah, we'll let you off. Well, thanks very much. Thanks very much, Phil. I'm sure my father is feels great at this moment, 6 foot under, wherever he is. Mr. Speaker, you know, the fact of the matter is that we've delivered on our relationship with tangata whenua. Delivered so much that we will keep delivering because it's good for the country, not because Māori want it, not because we think that Māori want it, but because it's good for the relationship between government and tangata whenua. Kia ora.
Honourable Morris Williamson.